Hello, collective, to another timeless galactic king 𝗖𝘀𝗵𝗺 reading. As Master Seventh, of which I am, please know that I am a healer. So if you'd like any of my services, whether it be a tarot reading or a healing session, wherever you are on this earthly plane, I can assist you. Information on how to book a reading or any session with me can be found in the description box below. Or if you have any questions, please also check out the description box for any further ways to make contact, or also to check out any other form of content that I already have available in both of my channels. So as we move on for the reading, I am not yet quite sure exactly how this reading will unfold and what is to be found. It will be found in the unfolding until the end of the reading. I am not here to announce that there is, or to prove or to disapprove that there is a Holy Spirit in the name of God. I am an energy that is not keen in enjoying labels. So we are here tapping into an energy that wants to communicate through me as its conduit and bring forth whatever messages that want to come forth. Plain and simple. Dealing with energies can be very cryptic, so just keep that in mind for the entirety of the reading. As always, treat this like any other ordinary reading, that past, present, and future energetical timelines could come forth with vibrancy. Feminine and masculine energies may come forth, however, they are not gender specific. This is, in the end of the day, a very non-binary reading. However you move with your discernment is what will be for you. Whatever does not concern you, please leave it behind. Again, as a reader of this energy, I am not here to approve or disprove that the energy of God is to exist. I am merely speaking upon the energies that make its contact with me in however form the messages may come forth. So, let's get with it. Let's get with it. Alright, so we're starting off with the Nine of Wands, Fear, Queen of Swords, Independence, and 10, the Wheel of Fortune, Karma. Okay. external energies are making their way into your aura without you meditating upon them. Meaning newfound fears, new sudden medical mishaps, medical tragedy, something new, something out of the ordinary, something that you didn't see ever occurring. I'm seeing a roadblock, someone fearing it's the dead end, hearing news of tragedy, and it bringing a newfound existential crisis to thy own mental game. It could be small, it could be massive. Tragedy is a term that is subjective in how something and someone feels the tragedy to be an effect in their life. One's problem doesn't make it another man's problem, another person's problem. Your problem doesn't always mean another person has the answers to your problem. And in those discoveries, in those journeys of findings, going to places and feeling disappointed with unleft or unsaid answers, undetermined feelings, misdiagnosis, mistreatments, misjudgments, bunch of misses to what it is that you're trying to find a bullet target to. There's a level of strength, however, that meets the maker, and the maker is you, the one that houses these fears, these perspectives of what tragedy is in your life, what it may mean, and where to go after knowing it has risen in your awareness of your life, or it has at least made its impact. Where to go after injury to the heart, where to lean when you've been betrayed and robbed with devotion, how to manifest when that of which you've already manifested seems to dissipate and leave. There's a level of independence coming forth of this energetical vibration of life as of late that makes you hungry of something, whether it's hunger for understanding your patterns of karmic life patterns, where the karmic life patterns are exhaustive, they're ritualistic, they're repetitive, they're meaningless or becoming less meaningful, they are boring, they are feeling lackluster, one is feeling lackadaisical and lazy and unfulfilled, and the other is a hunger towards fear, either being anchored in knowing exactly what to stay away from because of the fear, or hunger to meet fear in the eye and conquer it every step of the way so that you can get rid of it. There seems to be multifaceted ways to make a decision based off two choices. Whether one has the personality to reach the light or the darkness of one choice and the light of the darkness of the other choice, whether it be fear or karma, is completely independent of you and your own choices, and your own thought processes, your own life lessons, your own life steps to meaning, because that will involve consequences and learning about them, and finding an interdependentness that gives you a loyalty that's unmatched to your own devotion. And that is a sense of sovereignty that dethrones anyone that sits on this throne as Queen of Swords. He or she knows the power of their mental vastness, whether they have a structure of belief, a structure of scripture, or a structure of any kind of four walls to maintain the governing of your own mind, to put faith of your own caliber in the making. And that faith, whether it meets the definition of what you claim to be true, what you claim to feel glee in and hopeful in, is not in question. Faith is just another term to get the engine that could moving. Get the engine of will winning. Get the engine of desire passionate. To keep triggering the mind, and for the mind to understand with time and patience the difference between karmic and consequences that are inevitable, and fear that one needs to control. Those are two different aspects of choices. And no matter which way you are in the choosing of those choices, are multifaceted ways of behaving within those choices and learning their overall formula of what patterns they have in the evolutionary phases of those choices needing to make its way into the everyday life on the overall lesson in your life path. Whether it's God that's giving you that way, whether it's you just moving that way and feeling resonancy within these words and not believing in the energies of God, I personally would also respect your answer. And that is not of God to give you that mercy, to live in whatever language you need to compute in your mind in order to find peace in the equilibrium of what it means to keep your mind and your heart and your gut well balanced in the overall frequency of what it means to be united in this interconnectedness of Earth and the galaxy. Either way, all labels is a symbolism to what we desire and what we put motivation towards being true. If that motivation speaks in the tongue of honesty and devotes itself to truth of loyalty, then nothing stands in the way of its own purity, because that purity will be so vast and galactic that no diseases of the mind, no diseases of the heart, no diseases of the soul can penetrate thy destiny, that which is of your own choosing, whichever choices you have in the world of which it is that we breathe one air simultaneously upon. Ten of Pentacles, wealth. Eight of Swords, anxiety. Six of Swords, movement. Money is the root of all evil. Money is the distinct factoring as to how higher vibrations of holiness can see how they justify their choices for however money made those choices easier or harder upon them. Whether it is the excuse of having too much money or the excuse of having no money. Money is the root of all the evil because it transactionalizes the one form of currency that we all uphold ourselves to not enjoying. And one way to attack that knowledge is to use the term politics. Unfortunately, in all the various ways that humanity has thrown color to its existence, they've also blasphemized the word God to reach in all those crevices of where humanity has painted its colors. And when they didn't go according to the plan of humanity, there's only one other energy to blame in the place where we have asked him to join, which is God energy. How could something as holy produce what seems unholy for those in chaos, making sense as to why the world is unbalanced while it has all these holy, enriching aspects within itself, and aspects of human, whether it's human shades of color, language, tradition, vibration, geographic makeup, whether it's in other mammals and species, whether it's in insects and plants and trees, whether it's the water due to climate. Earth is riddled with anxiety because only in anxiety do we understand what we are uncomfortable in. It's if we give ourselves permission to reach for comfort, which is the irony of asking individuals to heal. Why shy away from seeing comfort? And it's because you're comfortable in the discomforts of which it is that you own, because that is all that it is you know. Hence why moving forward it will be 25,000 calendar years of the age of cognitive dissonance, as we could say, to give the cycle of what was a cycle of what will come, a new chance to glorify itself in the future, or what it means to have struggled now. Your future depends on the choices you make now, as much as your now is a representative factoring as to what your past was. You can fix your past by focusing on your present. You can fix and dictate your future by understanding your present choices. Those are all dogmas of being an enigma of a human being without ever questioning God's existence. Because you can be of any type of religion, whether it's the religion of anti-God, and still survive and live out to be a human being. There are no injustices to how you penetrate your mind of belief. There are only injustices to how your choices impact other beings. Knowing how to govern your own mind is an integrity game. Integrity is based on how you were protected or neglected when you first returned onto the soil, when you were birthed by mother. That environment that you were asked to reacclimatize in, or acclimatize in for those new souls, is a moment of purity without any chaos to the mind. It is a feeling that gives your new body as a baby permission to explore its senses, explore the physiological makeup of the potential of possibilities. That is all we have, and in it, it's perfect. No matter its missing limbs, its obscure color, its abnormalities, it's perfect. Forever long it breathes independently, and independently is a beauty to uphold. We sped up the timeline of human connectedness by using medicine to elongate the breath and its potential need of needing others to survive a little longer for its breath to be maintained. We've taken an inorganic processing and over time realized that we can lessen, and as we lessen, we prolong. So there's beauty to be had with medicine, and medicine goes back a long time, because plant is medicine. Nutrition, consumption is medicine. Knowing to consume things that are healing and nutritious for the body is not a bourgeoisie, and it doesn't make you petty and proud of who you are. It makes you exactly as you should be, someone who gives a shit about what it is that you are. And even if you don't yet know, you're willing to learn along the way. And as you learn that some things aren't good, you don't have to think twice about letting them go. Because why should you second guess anything that's bad for you? Who hurt you so bad to hold on to negativity? Is that truly of God's presence and possibilities? Or is it the narrow-mindedness of the other souls of thinking minds and thinking minds of thinking souls we're trying to convey as a messenger in the act of possibly gods and goddesses, preachers, rabbis, masters, teachers, professors, doctors, nurses, lawyers, attorneys, judges, counselors, guidance counselors, neighbors, family, brothers, sisters? Who do we know is the one that is to know, besides the engine of what we feel is trustworthy enough to allow ourselves to continue feeling? And in our feelings, process thoughts and perhaps new thoughts, and then maybe as a physical entity, we can entertain these thoughts with some action. Full-blown, non-binary completeness of potential feminine usage of energy and masculine use of energy, no matter what gender you have between the groins, and choices that you make on a personal private note of thrill and exploration of sexual energies. One is animalistic, pure in the making of being a species on this planet. And the other is a consequential damnation of having a thinking mind. wanting to explore the justice factor, and the other, the consequences factor, and seeing how to not reap any of the pains of having done any bad choices. But one must uphold these bad choices to themselves, whether they are bad choices and the consequences of other reaching them first and you being in the presence or connectedness of that consequence. A bystander makes you a problem with the problem if you do not move. You're the proton, neutron of everything at any time. And when the thinking mind can choose for itself to no longer be in the presence of another individual or something, or a workplace, a relationship of closeness or of separation, why carry the burden of so much pain when we must explore the governing of your own mind in order for it to give you the freedom that you want to reach in the soul journey that you may be on? Not contingent on it being connected to believing in God or gods and goddesses, wokes and non-wokes, prophets, new prophets, rabbis, messiahs. Your belief is a structure of an energy vessel that should be self-sustaining on its own. You don't need anyone to build what it is that you have, because for that, you have everything already. All right. We have Six of Pentacles and the Lovers. Justice gets ignored, even by the political stemmings of what we believe we need as a human species to bring some level of control, aka justice. Justice starts off small. And when we don't understand how small it can get, we will never accept it on the way that it doesn't fit the bigger picture. So we must start off small within our minds, within our hearts, within our soul, and start from there, where we have forgotten to return to, which is yourself. Any bystander that you think is an expert or a professional, or told to you as a testimonial of being the greatest one, the wise one, the messenger of the gods and goddesses, is just a messenger for you. However, the choice to follow thy messenger, to listen to the message, to forgo the message, to utilize the message, is your choice. The choices that you realize are the most important ones, are the ones that you never express. It's the unspoken choices, because you rationalize something or leave something unrationalized in your mind, and thus a choice begins. Because if you don't take control, the control will be taken for you. That's an inevitable consequence of formula of energies. 𝗩𝗲𝗵𝗺𝗃, Earth's heart. So whole galactic earthly plane. You are the eye of that which blooms. You are the eye. Your whole body is in a way the spectrum of a version of a third eye on this earthly plane. Utilize it wisely. Treat it with respect. And respect is a measurement of a journey because one must earn respect. 𝗩𝗲𝗵𝗺𝗀𝗨, oil of vitriol. Your anger will guide you. If you allow it to be controlled by you. When you understand, when masters as such myself, rather as myself, masters as such as myself. Look at that, I can't even speak. Masters such as myself will beckon you to accept both your light and your darkness, because you cannot just eat up all green of love and everything is beautiful and never look at what makes the mercury of that oil golden over time, because that's the part that is still dipped in darkness. The light is dependent on the darkness, and when the darkness gets no attention, it will make the one absorbing all of light without darkness look as vicious as this lioness. Someone will see this and see you as crazy, unmaintained, temperamental, ferocious, because there are probably tendencies where people come to you and ask you to be emotionally available and you're just not. And so you're almost spiritually bypassing using healing as a narrative to forgo having these conversations, because you think that, well, if I'm lovely and dubby and cuddly and huggy, then I have the right to ignore everything else that's problematic. And if I do a little sound therapy, pray a little bit more every day, then God will fix the unhealed versions of myself. Meanwhile, life unfolds itself, and it not being the best version of your fantasy. And it's because you're allowing God to put mercy upon thee, and you give him nothing but shit unaddressed by you, and only acclaimed the beautiful things. And that is no longer fair for the light warriors who didn't understand how to be light in a world filled with darkness. Built a relationship with what it means to be Christic, in a vibration of earthly matters, of the earth's heart, and no fucking religious tie here. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 is the Christic vibration of earth's heart. Those who are returning warriors of this earthly heart vibration felt like they were in the dark for the majority of their lives, and it took a brutal tragedy to awaken themselves into understanding the damnations they have felt all the way up to that point, to be able to get rid of everything else that's coming, moving forward, that wants to even try to look itself like a darkness. and it will be impossible for someone who has accepted Christic light. Because for them, accepting all of them all of a sudden became the purity of which it is that they knew obliterates any darkness that sets a foot upon them in their psyche, in their mind, in their roadblock, or even a whisper over a phone call or a text message. Low vibrational minions of non-Christic vibrations are merely just a sentiment of where we are in a collective human species to those of us who are in the Christic vibrations already. We are shapeshifters in the making and the moving and the understanding of interdependentness that is needed in this independentness to understand the difference between freedom and free will and compare that to sovereignty. And knowing the difference between true universal justice, that universal justice of the governing of politics will never be able to succeed in as long as high vibrational galactic king is here to keep us all intact on this earthly vibration. We have strength, bravery, and the moon, misinterpretation. The age of cognitive dissonance is about taking the way that humanity has been wrongly educated and recalibrating everything. And the recalibration begins at returning everyone back home to where they should have gone to or heard the siren back in 2020. And anything that gives them some sort of memory before 2020 will give them the reassurance that 2020 is also very literal in providing 2020 vision of what is to come in the future. Your emotions can help guide you. However, your emotions is not a wise way to look at that. That's where your success will lie. Your emotions will guide you into helping you assist the difference between accepting light aspects of yourself and shadow aspects of selves and integrating them in a way that makes the shadow feel very entertained, because you may have a shadow, for example, to steal, but the message of dancing with your shadow isn't to steal. It is to understand what your shadow of stealing is actually after, and then take the disciplined versions of your light and train those shadow aspects to give exactly the same type of euphoria your shadow may need when it comes to having or needing to steal. There's a counterbalance. There's a 180-degree difference of a parallel that is just as equal, but 100% different than what it is that is needed. Hence why it's a constant war between needs versus wants. As deep of a psychology that is, whether it's the chicken or the fucking egg that's first. All right, collective. That is all that I have for you at this time. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space.